Okay, people. So this looks like it's the last thing we'll be watching for Fantasia International Film Festival. Is a documentary called Home Invasion. Okay, it is written and directed by Graeme Arnfield. Now, yeah, that's all we've got. Right? There's no info on the sound or like anything else. It's the IMBD is crazy. The website gives you nothing. Oh, it's very frustrating sometimes, people. But when I saw this, I thought it was about like home invasion. I thought it was kind of like Panic Room, something like that, you know? But it's not. It's a documentary that talks about like inventions that have kind of created fear in the home. You know what I mean? Like everything starts off with this person woke up from a nightmare. Now, I thought it was interesting. Actually, yes, I should tell you what it's about. Right? It's a nightmarish essay film on the history of the doorbell, tracing its invention and constant reinventions through 19th century labor struggles, the nascent years of narrative cinema, and the contemporary the contemporary surveillance cultures. Right. So about Graham, it said like, he says he made it in bed with a mixture of found materials from archival patent illustrations, domestic security footage, to suspenseful horror movie clips, soundtracked by historical prepared piano pieces and manipulated field recordings. The film asks what is to be done with machines that don't work for us, with systems that hinder radical futures that profit off of convenience and use our fears against us. What happens when our homes and our dreams have been invaded? So, as mentioned, everything starts off with someone waking up from a nightmare. So, it was fascinating because, it starts off with Marie Van Britten Brown, a New Yorker who wakes up in 1966 with she's having nightmares of people on her doorstep, right? Which led her to invent, right, the surveillance doorbell, right? So that's the doorbell with the video camera. So her invention had a camera that went up and down and it was constantly recording. Right, so we then go to 2004 with Jamie Simonoff, who woke up with nightmares of not being successful. That was his nightmare. And, he was trying to think of stuff and work on stuff, but he'd be in his garage and he wouldn't hear people at his door. So he then created the Ring doorbell, right? So that was the surveillance camera, but you would now get notifications on your phone, you know? And then also he added onto it that the instead of a continuous recording, right, your camera was activated with ugh what do you call a motion detector? Yes. So I thought those two things were definitely interesting to kind of be like, oh, that's how that came about, right? There's, I remember Ring, all of that blowing up, but I didn't know that the camera surveillance was invented in 66. You kind of felt that it was a more modern invention, because I hadn't seen it like until I don't know, in the 90s, you know, definitely don't recall it in the 80s or anything like that. So that was, interesting. Now, this is a very, for me anyway, it was a difficult thing to watch because now it's, it works in the context of what it's dealing with at the start, because you're viewing everything through a little circle. So it's like kind of recreating the camera eye, the fish eye. So if you're looking through, the thing on your door, the peephole, right? So it's that. That's how we're viewing things. But then all the text is within this small space. So it's just difficult. And we're using white text, red text, but there's no background. So you're losing it. And yeah, it's tough. It took me a long time to get through this. But as I said, look, the beginning was interesting. I did then think it kind of lost its way because we then start talking about the telephone, right? The cotton press. Now, I think all of those, could, you know, connect it in a way, things that have brought the outside to the inside. But let's move away from the friggin' fisheye lens now. If we're talking about those, we can go full screen. It makes no sense to then be having everything still in the friggin' circle, because we're not talking about that now. So it would have been good to change the perspective. Also, the music at times, it's just too loud, right? Because when we're doing the camera footage, the door camera footage, right, we're seeing a lot of footage from that, people coming to doors, you know saying crazy things, trying to get inside, trying to break in, people trying to break into the house and the camera catching it, the police coming, because then it gets into how the police are using this data, and that's a bad thing. But you kind of think, I mean, it makes sense, right? If you're trying to catch people that are breaking into houses, it makes sense to ask people if they've got cameras to be like, yo, could we look at that footage? It's just, I feel it comes with the territory. You can't really have a big issue with that, because that's why you have it. You have a camera to catch people breaking into your house. Now, you're going to give that footage to the police so they catch those people and get your shit back, right? That's the whole point. Otherwise, what are you doing? Yeah. But yeah, but like the footage, when we have people talking and all of that, the music is drowning it out a lot of the time. Those sound levels are very low. So I don't know if, he didn't really want us to hear anything from them and it's more about the text on the screen. I don't know, but it just made it difficult. And so, yeah, as we get on and we're seeing, talking about now the telephone and the cotton gin, and we're using movie footage and all of that, I think that's when it kind of loses its way a little bit. I think this is about an hour and 25, an hour and 30 minutes. I think, like, make it short, concise, do it about, the doorbell camera and all of that. It's probably 30 minutes, 45 minutes. That, succinct. That works. I don't think it needs to be as long, you know. But yeah, I'm sure it's gonna be fascinating for people. Because as I said, the stuff about the doorbell camera and that invention and how it's changed, that was very interesting. The other stuff, it's interesting, but it's just if it all fits together, you know. But that's up to you to work out, you know what I mean? Look, if you like documentaries and you're intrigued by all of that, then Home Invasion is for you, you know? I did think because yeah, the home invasion makes sense because it's taking the outside, bringing it inside, right? That anxiety, because it is said that people that get these doorbells are then anxious, right? It's always because you're getting notifications on your phone. So now every time someone comes, they 90% of the time, it's probably nothing. It's the postman, it's someone, making a stop to ask for information or to, see if you're interested in something. But now, every time your phone, beep, beep, you're like, is someone breaking into my house? So that makes sense with home invasion, you know. But yeah, the other stuff, I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure, but as mentioned, look, it's there. So there's not a whole lot of information about this documentary, but there will be a link to Graeme's website so you can go follow, keep track, see if it's playing anywhere near you. Okay, so that's it, people. Home invasion.